Bus. Let's get it, man. Choosing to go no contact with your parents isn't necessarily a bad thing. Now, if you never heard of that, I'm happy I could run this for you. Here's the deal. There's some people who grew up in households where their parents are probably abusive to them. Your parents are probably very toxic to you. And as you got older in life, you probably was like, yo, is it wrong for me to go no contact? Is it wrong for me to abandon my parents or whatever? I'm going to tell you real. You're not wrong at all for doing that at all. You get what I'm saying? And I'm a prime witness of that. I've done that to my mom. Everybody should know that by now. Here's the deal. If you choose to avoid somebody or a parent or mother, father, guardian, whoever, because they abused you when you were younger, mistreated you, were very toxic to you, narcissistic, whatever, choosing to go no contact is the best option for you, because you got to understand something, right? There are some parents, they grew up in toxic environments, and those same behaviors that they learn, they pass down that trauma to their children. And then there's some children who they pick up that same behavior or they try to do away with it. Give you an example into that, right? Let's say you had a parent who used to get abused as a child, and their parents probably held them back from their dreams. Their parents never spoke life into them. So they turn around and take that same behavior and do it to you. Either because, you know what? I missed out on my opportunities in life. I'm going to do the same thing to you. Or, you get what I'm saying? There's some people who break the generational curse. But then there's some parents, they inhabit what it is that they've went through when they were younger, and they pass it down to their children. So I used to get beat by my father every day. Guess what? I'm going to beat you every day. You got to understand something. Some people have a bad programming and they've just inhabited that. But it doesn't mean that you have to stick around and stay in an abusive situation where you're not being respected or you're not being appreciated. Because you staying in a toxic situation for a long amount of time, it's going to screw with you as you get older, dog. Tell you example why. You ever heard the famous saying, misery loves company? Very true. You could be around a person who's miserable as shit, and they do everything in the world to try to make your life miserable. You get what I'm saying? To the point where you start seeing, they start trying to sabotage your life or sabotage your plans. If you hang around people like that long enough, it's like saying you're choosing to accept it. I know well enough, when you're young, you have to deal with certain shit until you get old enough to where you can handle your own stuff. Cool. But what I'm saying is if you're in a situation as to where, let's say, your mom would take all of your stuff and destroy it, or your dad will talk smack to you and then want to fight you every day, like on some real abusive, toxic stuff. If you know you're old enough to get up out of there, do it. If you know you're not old enough, try and spend as much hours as you can away from the house. It's just like, example, look at that movie. I'm going to give you a perfect example of an abusive parent. If you ever seen that movie Friday Night Lights, that was an amazing movie, dog. One of my favorite movies, right? That running back, number 26, I think his name was Tyler something, right? His dad was a star running back for Permian High School, right? Now, you're the star, you're running back at the school, but you're not a star player like me. I was a star back in the days. Everybody knows me in the city. Everybody knows I was touchdown having, toting the rock. You can't even hold on to the fucking ball. He used to beat the shit out of his son and abuse the hell out of him because he could not hold on to the football. Because he has this high accolade, everybody knows him. Back in the days, I was a star running back who helped Odessa Permian win the state title. Now you're my child. You play the position. People can't see the star quality in you. People ask, are you my son? Like, that's abusive mentality, bro. Just because your child isn't as good as you used to be, or you don't hold the ball like how I do, so I'm going to abuse you for it. The man was a toxic father. You get what I'm saying? And whether he may realize it or not, he caused a lot of mental trauma on his son. If you watch that movie again when he was showing his son, do you see the state ring? Do you think you're going to get one of these? Are you going to get one? He waved the ring in his son's face while he was driving the car home, drunk as hell, and threw it out of the car. Like, literally, he was just a toxic parent. And if he was the type of person where, not saying the movie extended on to where you could see that, but little abusive behaviors like that, that can shape a kid, that can mold a kid to be like that if he's not strong enough. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. If you know you're in a situation where, let's say you're with an abusive parent or an abusive guardian or a miserable guardian, you have to be very careful of how much time you spend around them and how much time they program you. Because there's some parents out there, and this is very true, they know how to drive fear and knock out all form of confidence out of their child. Because why? Somebody did it to them. You can't do that. Or you think you're smart enough for that? I don't think you could do that. Let me tell you free game, bro. Why I say I don't like my mom a lot, right? Growing up as a kid, my mom, let's say my mom gave me a good compliment, my mom would snatch that shit back times 10. So it's like saying, hey, I'm going to allow you to walk 5 steps forward, then I'm going to snatch you back another 10, 15 steps, dog. So it's like every time I try to get up to walk or run or whatever, my mom is tripping me up somewhere along the way. Either with the words that she puts on me, downing me and embarrassing me in front of some of her friends that come by the house. But yet and still, I still show my mom love. I had to get older and understand the love that I give to my mom, she didn't respect or appreciate it. Who I was for my mom, it wasn't good enough. So I had to understand, if I continue to stay there, I'm basically fighting for a blown dead situation. It's like, what do you call it? Trying to beat a dead horse? Like, you're not going to get that situation back. A person chose their lifestyle. They chose their fate. And you got to understand something. As people get older, they get more miserable and they get more set in their ways, bruh. So you trying to change a person, or you trying to show a person, oh, I love you, or I want you to change, or I want you to get better. Sometimes some people chose their destiny. Some people chose their fate. It's just like if a person wants to rob and be a badass. Guess what? They chose their fate. I'm not saying some people can't become a slave or a prison to certain things that they grew up around or certain behaviors that they done picked up. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if a person really wants change, they'll go about that. You get what I'm saying? It's not something where you got to try and upsell and act like, yeah, I'm trying to change, but life is so hard. It's up to you if you want to change. You get what I'm saying? So if you know for a fact you have parents who are abusive, or you guys share different values, or they have some serious mental health issues, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to get away in order to save yourself, dog. You trying to save yourself is actually one of the best things possible. Because here's the thing. There's some people who are narcissistic and that much desensitized to where they know that you care about them. They just don't really care about themselves. So you caring about a person who doesn't really care about themselves, that's what wasted energy, dog. It's not a guarantee that person's going to want the help or want better for themselves. They want to act like they want better for themselves, but it's a fact of upselling it to you. You feel me? It's different ways you can look at the situation. But ultimately, if you're around somebody who is abusive or never valued you, or they've done certain things to where it's made major impacts in your life, you need to get away from them people. Example, give you another one into that, right? Let's say you have a parent around, right? And your parent is actually codependent. This is very common, right? Your parent is codependent and you're independent. That parent can become very toxic to you because why? You have something that I don't have. And you're my child. You're younger than me. I'm codependent. I need somebody around me. You are independent. You dolo. You don't really need nobody like that. You need some guidance. But guess what? You don't really need people like that. That frightens some people. Because there are some people, they need to have somebody hitched up underneath them. They need to have somebody on like a little leash behind them. Because that's how some people feel powerful and macho. You ever notice that there's some dudes or some, I'm going to just make it real plain as day simple. You ever seen some dudes who in gangs, they act like they so hard, but deep down they're very pussy and weak. Because why? I'm in a gang. I got groups of people around me. Like that weird ass nigga O'Neal. O'Neal went for everybody in the book, sent a whole lot of people to gang stalk me, but you supposedly this big ass gangster in Miramar. And you retrieve all of these people for one little nerd. That showed me something. You're really pussy, dog. Understand that. There's some people who cannot stand up on their own too, bruh. They need assistance in life. If you know you don't need assistance, or you don't need somebody up underneath you to make things happen, or to make things happen in life, or take flight, or be a self-starter, what does that say about you? You're a dangerous individual, bruh. There's some people who I need a pep talk, or I need somebody to motivate me for the day. There's some people who don't need that. There's some people who don't need somebody to hold their hand. You got to understand that. There's some people who, if they see that, yo, you have something that they don't have, parent, older brother, older sibling, older guardian, they'll become threatened by that, bruh. That's how some people develop a deep hatred towards certain people, because you have something that I'm lacking. You need me? Guess what? You don't really need me. I need you like that. You get what I'm saying? There's some people who really do not have a leg to stand on. Why do you think narcissists are the way that they are? I gave you free game. In order for a narcissist to be successful and stand tall, they need an empath. They need a form of supply, some form of source. If you take away that supply, that source, what happened? Them niggas is weak. They ain't got nothing after that, dog. There's some people, you're probably giving them your energy and making them feel way more powerful than what they really are. You take away that energy and you put it into yourself, you'll really see how powerful you are. You get what I'm saying? And lastly into that, right? Mental health, as I stated before, right? If you're in a situation where you have a toxic guardian or somebody being toxic, that's going to take a toll on your mental health. And your mental health is very important. That's something you have to make sure you protect and guard at all times. Because here's the deal. There's a lot of people who let their mental health take them off the deep end, bro. There's some people who are raising some toxic dynamics. They don't even know where to turn, because why? That's all they know. You got to learn how to stay sane and stay balanced within your mind, so you don't become a part of, or become like the people who try to fuck you over. You get what I'm saying? With that being said, remember this. Words can help you. They can hurt you. But here on my channel, I use them to uplift you, because everybody's a champion. Nobody's a loser. Just remember this. Do not ever feel bad for having to go no contact or go AWOL on a person, a parent, whoever was ungrateful, who never valued you. Because you got to understand that some people just wanted you to stay right there and be like a little sidekick underneath them. Like they're the Batman and you're the Robin. Like Pinky and the Brain. You get what I'm saying? I'm Brain, you're Pinky. You get what I'm saying? I'm the smart one, you're the dumb one. There's some people who like to play these games with you and try and screw you up, so you don't know what you have in life. You don't know your potential. But if you know that you're in a toxic situation, or you're around family or friends or whoever, and they're not treating you with respect, it's nothing wrong with going no contact with them. You did that just to save your mental health and save your peace. You feel me? 440 for the world, man. Peace.